Welcome to the What's the Damage podcast with your host, Leo Van Dammage.
And we're live. How you getting on?
How's it going, Leo? I'm good, thanks.
Hi guys, this is Leo Van Dammage, as Manuel Gonzales nicely said to me. I am here with, I've already said his name, Manuel Gonzales. How are you, sir?
Doing really well today.
For people that don't know, Manuel Gonzales is a oh god, I keep forgetting it. Go on, tell me.
User experience designer.
User experience designer, user experience consultant. Mm-hmm. You're on your consultancy firm.
That's right.
And you're a CEO. On top of that, you have something quite special. I'm going to say it's a hidden UX.
Hidden UX.
Hidden UX. There you go. Thank you. Which is something you're going to be telling us about today.
Definitely.
Apart from that, hope you guys enjoy the show. I'm going to try to not swear. I can't make see your face. I can't make any promises, but I'm going to try because I know that this is going to go to maybe people are going to be listening to this that are adverse to that type of language. So I will promise you I will do my best. I'm not going to edit this. As you guys know, anybody that listens to this podcast, I don't edit the way it comes out. Whatever is said, and that's the way we are. If I do slip up a few times, please accept my apologies. And obviously, if you're adverse to swearing, do yourself a favor and try not to listen to any of the other ones because they do get a bit X-rated. But I'll try to keep this one clean.
Thanks so much, Leo.
No, you're
so
very
considerate.
welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, so Manuel Gonzales. Before we go any further, bud, tell me and tell all three of my listeners, because there's only three, I'm sure, about so again, it's the customer experience. Customer experience. Is it customer experience? User experience,
but it's not a bad shout even saying it is customer experience. So that's the thing about that role. There's many names to it. You'll even come across as customer experience manager, designer,
right?
And there's a lot of overlap, and it's essentially the same thing. You know, user experience designer, you'll hear it as a user experience consultant, an information architect, an interaction designer. So it comes with a lot of names for it, but it's all essentially the same thing. So even the folks that do this role, we have a hard time defining ourselves and even explaining to others what we do.
Right. It's kind of like when people say I'm a management consultant, it's like, oh, you're a management consultant. What do they do? Well, I consult and I manage. It's like, oh, how vague is that, huh? Obviously I'm sure this is going to lead into hidden UX, so we'll start here.
We'll get into that.
We'll have our little customer experience of our own.
Yeah, exactly.
Treat me as a customer.
Exactly.
Tell me about your role in the customer experience world, your consultancy, and you've been doing it. We were talking before the podcast, so you've been doing it for about 10 years.
Yeah,
right?
almost 10 years now.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, go for it. Talk to me about, for those who don't know, what a customer experience is. I mean, I kind of have an idea because obviously we spoke about it, but for anybody who doesn't know, talk to me about customer experience and like what somebody would balance that out as.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
how would they quantify that?
Yeah, in terms of customer experience, it's something that I'd say all businesses are really concerned with right now, because every business they're so reliant on customers' business and them returning, right? And I find that a lot of businesses are realizing that if they're not really there for the customer, really focusing on how can we add value to the customer, they'll just go to the competitor. And the landscape has changed so much where you can't afford to do that. And so customer experience has really, really been on the rise since the past, especially since from the time I've been in the industry. It's just become the standard, and you'll find in a lot of businesses they'll have their own internal departments dedicated to this now, right? And in terms of what we actually do, essentially it's the simple way of saying it is you're basically in charge of designing how an experience will occur to the customer, right? So you're considering, what do I want a customer to go through when they're using our service, our product, our application? When they're going through it, what do we want them to feel? What do we want them to go through, right? And for you to achieve that, obviously you need to be engaged with that customer. You need to be talking to them. You need to be having that conversation with them to understand why you're here. What is it you're trying to get out of using our product or our service? Because we want to make sure you have a great experience with us. We want to make sure we're adding value to your lives and making whatever you're trying to do as seamless and as easy as possible. And so it's a process, essentially. And so we take them...
Like everything.
Yeah. It's a process. You take them through a process of, you start the conversation. Why are you here? What do you want to get out of using this? Or what problem do you have that we can help you solve, right? Because maybe there's a new opportunity here, a new product that we can provide to you that can really help solve some issues that you're having that no one else is really addressing. So we'll go through that conversation. We'll do our research, right? And then that will come out in a tangible form by way of, we'll create a prototype, for example. So if it relates to an application that we're assuming is going to help you with a particular issue that you're having, then we'll create that, then we get it on the phones, we'll test it with you, okay, we'll get the feedback, we'll iterate, we'll keep iterating until you're experiencing no problems, and that we have that kind of confidence level to really know that, yep, this is something that you would actually use, right? So it's not just something that's easy to use, but it's something that you would actually use because it's adding value in your life somewhere. And then you're working with, obviously, like developers and designers to actually build it up. But if you're doing that role, you're someone that's involved into the whole end-to-end process. So it's similar to like an architect to a building, right? So you're the person that's coming up with the blueprints, you're telling everyone where everything needs to go, okay? And then someone else will go build it, and then someone else, like an interior designer, will make it look beautiful for you.
Yeah. And then obviously you've got people that'll test it to make sure that they're happy with it, any bugs or anything like that, and it comes back to you, and then you'll say, well, this is the way it's supposed to be, this is what works best, and stuff like. Do you work, and then sort of with that, then you would work alongside with a lot of market research, what people say they're interested in, what people likes and they don't likes with regards to a customer journey. So let's say product placing. Lucozade, sponsor me because I'm going to talk about you. So let's say you go into the Lucozade website and you can buy crates of Lucozade there, and I want that user experience to be as seamless as possible. So I'll from the beginning, it will show me exactly where I want to be, or the interface is quite sort of simple or dynamic, depending on how I guess the client wants it, right? Is that right?
Absolutely. There's different levels to this. So on one level, like you mentioned, you want to, if someone's coming onto the Lucozade website because they want to purchase Lucozades, you want to make sure that experience is just as seamless, right, as possible, right? For them to just make it really easy, just go on there, order, and it's done, right? You don't want them to feel like irritated that you're making it so hard for them to put in their card payment details in, and then
get frustrated and leave.
Exactly. And then they're gonna go to, who are they gonna go to? They're gonna go Lucozade. Where are they gonna go? They're gonna go to who's their competitor?
Monster, I guess. They're
Monster.
in the energy
They'll go Monster. They might go Red Bull. Right?
Red Bull, yeah.
And you don't want to do that. You want to hang on to Lucozade, right? And that's one level of consideration, just making sure it's super easy to use. But then there's another layer of thinking that you can do for this, right? Because what does Lucozade do? Okay, they're an energy drink, right? How about thinking about when would be a great time for me to want to consume Lucozade? So I'm assuming it's going to be around a time when possibly I'm about to do some exercise.
You need to refresh them electrolytes, yeah.
Exactly, right? So is there a way where I could be reminded that they have enough information about me, for example, where they know that every Friday nights I'm in Hoxton, about to get into my five-a-side game, 6 o'clock, that could be a time where I'm going to need some Lucozade. So is there a possibility where I'm just getting it delivered there, right? Automatically, you know I'm game for it, you know there's a need for it, I've signed up for it, and I just want it there, ready for me, for example. Right. And that's kind of another, so it's also about looking for the opportunities of how else can you add value to your customer, not just making that simple transaction super easy.
By the way, this conversation is making me want to drink more Lucozade. I don't think I've ever said Lucozade so much in my life in one paragraph of a conversation.
You're making it, and you go, and then you're making Lucozade look good, you know.
That's right, guys. Lucozade, listen to me right now. If you need any consultancy issues, you know where to come. You're my boy's right here. He knows everything you need. Manuel's ready. He's ready to rock. You want to throw the $1 million contracts at him, £1 million contracts. He's here. Hey guys, that's just so they know you understand that experience. So how did that lead on to, obviously, your knowledge within this, obviously extensive knowledge of 10 years worth of knowledge in this sort of industry. How did that then lead to this new venture, Hidden UX, which I specifically asked you not to tell me anything about because I want to know about it here, because I want my reaction to be genuine. Because I know, so for people who don't know what Manuel's been doing recently, I mean, we met each other a long time ago, right? Playing some football, right, on the weekends.
Back in the day.
And then we sort of, we go off and live our lives and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that I still haven't thought, hey, man, I think he was an awesome guy, man. I remember you being like my Morpheus almost. You used to just enlighten me. And then sort of we got back in touch and sort of seeing that you're doing these motivational vlogs and you're basically inviting people who are watching, and there's a lot of people watching, to improve, motivate, and I guess is that sort of somehow related to this Hidden UX thing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Hidden UX.
By the way, I don't mean to put you on blast. By the way, I don't want you to think like, oh wait, he's making me talk about it now when I'm not ready. Like you're cool to talk about it, right?
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, absolutely. And even the reaction that you had when you asked me, what do I do? I'm a user experience designer. That's one layer of what I'm trying to address. That's hidden, because the role is hidden from the world effects view. Because whenever I share with people what I do, they always need explaining. It's not really clear, what do I do? And it's quite hard to categorize as well. And whenever you're filling applications, there's never a user experience designer role. You always have to fit yourself into either IT or professional or designer or web designer, right? But none of them really fit in terms of explaining what we really do. And so the role in itself is quite hidden within the industry, right? And then the second layer of why it's hidden is just the industry itself. I feel like the digital creative industry that I've been a part of is quite hidden from everybody, right? And hence Hidden UX. And it's something that I'm looking to unveil to people, especially those that are contemplating going to university, or those who have just dropped out of university, or those that have just finished their really expensive degree and then realize, wow, I can't get a job with this degree. So that's a lot
of people, dude. That's a lot of people. I know a lot of people like that.
Right. And you probably hear stories all the time. I'm always hearing people when they talk about, I'm about to go to university, and my heart just crushes because I know what they're going to go through. Not in terms of their experience of uni, but they're going to get into so much debt now. They're going to be paying $9,000 a year. Plus, if they get the maintenance loan, what's that, about 4 or 5K? So they're going to graduate easily 35, 40K in debt. Plus there's interest, I believe, on those maintenance loans. So that's going to go from 40 to 50. So already you've graduated. You're in all this debt. And when you do finally get a job, guess what? You're going to notice that in this country, they tax you quite a bit. And then now you're going to find yourself...
I know. Yeah, I really know.
Exactly. And then if you're one of those people that have taken out those loans to finance your degree, you're going to feel like you're getting double tax, because that's what's going to happen. I
mean, don't they take it out of you? I mean, you obviously, you have to be earning about, over 15,000 a year. Yeah. Which, let's be honest, isn't hard. I mean, even a minimum wage job gives you just under maybe 15, maybe just over, depending on what kind of job you're in. Like an entry level position is about, in London, maybe about 19,000. So that immediately puts you over, and then starts taking money out, which, like 19,000 a year is not a lot of money.
Yeah, it really isn't. Especially, if you want to start a family.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Like that, if you're a single person, your responsibilities are
living
quite
it
light.
with the rents as well. If you're living it with the parents and you're no bills,
you're relaxing, you're chilling. Life's good. Life's good.
Man. Yeah, exactly.
Life's good at that time, right? And then, but you're not gonna find yourself in that situation for too long. And the thing is, I think there's a certain pace of urgency now, because even if you're chilling and you're waiting, guess what? The interest is hitting you. So that loan is growing slowly in the background. It's growing. So you really want to be paying that off as soon as possible, right?
Are you sure you get interest on the student loans?
I'm pretty sure. Not the actual tuition fee, but I believe the maintenance loans. If you get that, I think they got you on that now. They got you on that. Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
I really want to swear right now.
Man.
I'm not going to, but I really want to.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Back in my day, I thought I had it hard. I was in the generation. I think literally I came in the year just after they introduced tuition fees. So I had it easy. I thought I had it hard then. I had it easy, in fact, because I remember all the student protests. Because before my year, tuition was free, right? No tuition free. Then I think it was during the Blair regime, he introduced. Okay,
I like how you call it a regime.
Yeah. So we
just
experienced that
just
regime.
like Adolf. Yeah, just the regime.
The regime came in, and then they charged us 1K a year. And then guess what? A few years later, that went up to about 3-4K a year, tuition free. And now we're in a situation where we're competing with the United States. It's 9K a year. And now I'm all for paying for education and self-improvement. I think there's good value in that. But my issue is...
I'm the opposite. I think education should be free.
Yeah, well...
All education. I mean, go to... Scotland University is free.
Right.
And then... Finland, parts of like Germany, university is free, and Don, man, Don. I say Don. Jesus. Yeah, they build the best cars in the world. Some of the best cars in the world.
Yeah, no, I feel your sentiment, and I think the way I'd break that down is definitely if you're talking about in terms of a young age and you're growing up in a system. You definitely want to benefit from that kind of education where, it is supplied for you. I guess what I'm particularly thinking about is there is particular pockets of knowledge that if it gives you the kind of value, for example, that gives you the possibility of having a kind of living, right? That could give you a very, very comfortable living, right? Then I'm all for paying a certain amount to get me somewhere. Right. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I guess I'm talking about like certain kind of training, right? If you're going to give me value, right? If that's going to give me value, I don't mind paying for that, right? Because then I see it as an investment, right? But however, do standard degrees give 40-50K worth of value after 3 years? Can you get that value back? Can you almost step into a job and you're earning 100K just like that? If it did that, I'd say yeah, go for it. That's good value. That's quite a good deal because you can pay off that loan quite easily and then you're making a good living. But if you're doing a generic degree like I did, I did what I'd call a generic degree. I did a politics degree. And I remember people used to ask me, where are you going to do that, Manuel, after you graduate? And I would give them such a fluffy answer. And I realized now I was literally lying to myself and I was lying to them.
Just weaving a web.
Yeah, because I didn't really know. I just say to them, you can get into maybe journalism and this and that. I just had such a generic answer. It wasn't tuned into anything specific, right? And I feel like a lot of people are going to get into debt doing a generic degree. And I feel like that's such a shame because here I am in this industry, right, that doesn't require any of those kind of qualifications. And the reason why I know that is during my 10 years in there, whenever it comes to the punch of you stepping up, going into an interview, no one ever talks about your degree and what you've done. What they care about is what have you done?
It's like GCSEs.
What do you do with us? Yeah.
I've lied about GCSEs on so many CVs. My sister is applying for work right now, just while she's at uni in Worcester. And she was like, should I write my GCSEs? I was like, maybe just as a filler, but after about 2 or 3 jobs, no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. It's something you did when you were 16 years old. What have you done since? That's what's important.
Absolutely. Like if I think about my CV and what I've got in any kind of public profiles, there's no qualifications on there, no kind of formal qualifications. My GCSEs were really average, and my A levels, and then I ended up walking out my degree. I didn't even get that degree in the end. Right?
In politics.
Yeah.
So what happens then with your loan then? Were you still viable to have to pay it back because you didn't finish it?
Oh yeah, I still had to pay it back. I mean, I think overall, I took out the maintenance loan and then the tuition fee. So I think I was about 15-60K in debt. Right. Overall, during that time, and then, but now I feel like wow, that's not even that bad compared to what people are going through now, right?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah. So then just going through that, I'm just thinking, I'm still seeing, witnessing people still go through that system. And what I realized is that, wow, no one's telling them any different, right? They're not going to hear it from the inside that there's another way to get a career, right? I don't think they're ever going to hear it on the inside, because whoever represents the inside, and I'm not saying there's any kind of malintention here or anything like that, but they just don't maybe know any better. You know, they're institutionalized. They have institutionalized thinking. They're just there to kind of keep the system going, right? What I call kind of factory education, right? We're just kind of pushing out students and not really thinking about, okay, if you study this, where's that really going to lead you to, right? And I can understand for certain vocations, like if you want to talk about medicine, for example, I can understand, okay, you need to go through a certain system, a certain training
there's a
to
specific
get that,
process,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. But even with that industry, I'd question it. If I really had my heart set on being a doctor, wow, I know it's competitive here, right? And it's going to be expensive, because what is it? I have to study 5 years, right? 5 years, I think it is, to do medicine.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of debt. How much debt am I going to be in at the end of that, right? So I'd question, is there another way?
You could do it for a quarter of the cost.
Right.
You could, for the cost of a plane ticket to India.
Go on.
You could do it for like a quarter of the cost, the entire thing, because I think like a 4-year medical degree, like a standard medical degree without residency and everything else, they smash that into like 2 years.
Go on.
Because they don't believe in summer holidays. That's why. No, yeah, dude, I'm not joking. I genuinely, any sort of doctors from the Asian area in the world, you know, the Orient or Southeast or, you know, anywhere, Asia, just that continent, feel free to jump on and correct me, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Like, you know, Asian doctors will get that degree quicker, and they'll probably see a lot more stuff as well. I mean, a lot of Asia's third world, so you're probably going to run into a lot of things you're not going to see here in a Western civilized world. I wouldn't say civilized, but you know what I mean. You know, a Western world where things like clean water isn't really an issue, you know, like, and so diseases related or infections and stuff related to clean water, to dirty water, you would never really see here, because it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Because we have all the other things that clean out water. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is you can get a medical degree in Asia for a quarter of the cost.
You know, and we should always question, is there another way? Is there a better way? In terms of what we want to do, there's a problem. Is there a better way that I can get a career? Is there a better way? Because now going through the traditional education system, it's high stakes now. High stakes, high debt. Do you really want to go through that? And I understand what's going on, because I know what it's like when you have your parents. They're all egging you on, encouraging you, pressuring you. Like, it's the gold standard to our parents, right? To just go university and then that's it. That's my job done. And I think what they don't realize is that, especially if you're living in this country, there is so much other ways you can get into a career, that having a degree here in this country is not really the same thing as having it in another country,
like
possibly.
America, for example.
Possibly.
They like graduates. People have to have graduate degrees and stuff to even enter a job, even though those people are probably idiots.
Yeah, and I'd say it depends on the job, right?
Because, yeah, of course,
right? And I'd say that...
But McDonald's now in the States, they're like, we're looking for graduates.
Wow.
To get a McJob.
Really?
Put a burger together.
Would you look at that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even a joke. I looked into this because so my partner is in education. Yeah. She's a teacher, and just conversing. Obviously, she molds very young people in primary school.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously, you know, nobody wants one. I don't even think I knew what I wanted to do. I don't even know what I want to do now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm sort of going through the motion. I'm working just to keep my family afloat and do what I need to do. I mean, I have a goal. I have an idea of what I would like to do, which is work for myself, which is what I'm doing. So, you know, I don't pay any. I have a boss, but realistically, I'm self-employed. So, do what I want, really. But yeah, I mean, you're talking more of tackling maybe like from the 16 onwards age, right? People going to college and stuff.
Yeah, especially that age. But I think it's something that possibly that can be addressed even earlier than that, right? And I feel like maybe what the education system should be doing is eliminating waste. And what I mean by that is wasted potential.
I was really hoping you weren't going to say like, so basically we take the kids who aren't doing so well and we just throw them away.
yeah, not that kind of regime.
Cool.
Yeah. But definitely we want to minimize wasted potential, right? And I feel like the current education system, it's not really set up to acknowledge, recognize potential of people that can add value into the world, right? And that's the thing with factory education. It's such a big beast, right? How do you change something like that? You know, it's so hard to maneuver, right? And hence that's kind of what I'm looking to address with Hidden UX, because I actually want to take the education and the training direct to the people and say, hey, you don't need a degree for this, because I don't have a degree for this. And
you're pretty successful. So.
Yeah. You know, thank God. I feel like you know, I've been doing pretty well in it. And again, when the conversations come up of can you do this job, that's what it is. Can you do this job? How do I know you can do this job? Oh, let's have a look at your portfolio. Oh, you have a great story to tell about what you've just done. It feels like the way you dealt with that problem, we want the exact same thing for this situation here. And that's what the conversation revolves around. It's not about, let me look at what you studied. How are your GCSEs? What did you do there? None of that comes up. But no one's telling.
Funny that nobody tells anybody that. It's true.
No, but that's
so
not
true.
That's not being communicated, right? Like here you're having that kind of conversation out in what let's call the real world, right? That kind of conversation is happening, right? Then you go. Let's go back to the ground and see what's happening in high school, in college. No one's like passing that message on to say, hey, you know, look what's happening over there. When it comes to the interviews, they don't really care about your qualifications. They care about who you are, what you've done, what kind of problems you can solve, what your process was about, right?
Do you know what? Just sort of touching on your point there, I like me, many people again, me and you, the age gap isn't too different. So, like a lot of people my age, when I was in school, when I was in college, in secondary school in year 11, even in year 9, from like SAT tests, SATs for the Americans, SATs here for the UK, when people explain to me how important these exams are, how it will shape the rest of my life, how all of these things, like, you know, basically if I were to flunk these exams, that's it. It's over. It's game over. Game over, man. It's game over. You know, like, I'm done. And I never took it seriously. I didn't take my exam seriously. If I could go back, maybe I would have, because maybe the course of my life would have been changed. But I went to college for free. I didn't go to university. I went straight into the working world, and immediately started earning more money than people that I knew. I earn probably about 3 times more than most people that I know who went to university, and I have no debt. So I think, wow, like, you know, that's it. Nobody told me about that. I learned that the hard way, and the fear, man, Manuel, the fear that I had, like, I can see your face right now. You're like, I'm going to touch on this, right? Yeah. But the fear that I had when I failed those exams, I was like, what? My life's over. Like, you know, 16-year-old kid, my life is over. What, am I in Syria? No. Like, you know, and it worked out. It worked out fine. I'm absolutely fine. You know, I have a nice car, I have a nice home, I have a great family, I've got savings. You know, these things that most people that I know, that the traditional pathway, I guess, of like, everyone's like, you go to college, you go to university, you get a graduate degree job or an entry level job, you work your way up. Like, that's not the way anymore. Like, it's just not the way. You got YouTubers playing FIFA online, making millions of pounds, like, from sponsorship, and these guys have no qualifications whatsoever. Absolutely. So I guess you are right. There is no, like, the traditional archaic path of education just isn't, and the stuff that we're told doesn't apply anymore, because we live in a vastly different world where I can pick up. I've said this a few times on my podcast, but I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it. I can, excuse me, I just had a pizza, so I just burped a bit. I can pick up my phone, right? And you can ask me any question, and I have access in the palm of my hand, something we talked about before we were born, something like our ancestors talked about. Like, I have access to the entire world knowledge in the palm of my hands. I can answer any question you can ask me immediately. Something that would require, which is the traditional pathway, a high level degree to answer. If you're like, what's E equals MC squared, right? well, energy is equals to mass times conversion. Conversion is the speed of light, time, like squared, which is, this is where I'll throw this out, 299,792,458 meters per second. That's exactly the speed of light, which is that equation, E equals mc squared. Now, I can answer that question. I learned that from Wikipedia. I went online, picked it up. That's the information I got. But I would never have been able to answer that before the internet. I would need a higher level degree, have to know a lot about physics to be able to. And don't get me wrong, that's just a facet of information. But that equation has helped us discover loads of different things, right? Because of that one equation. So, I mean, yes, you are absolutely, I would feel, and you're completely right.
That's the thing. Like, I'm so glad you shared that story and you mentioned that word fear, right? Because I feel like, unfortunately, in the system, when people are having these conversations about
fear mongering,
exactly, you're made to tie your self-worth to your results and your exams. And unfortunately, when people fail those exams, then they feel worthless, and then they can get into a dangerous road. And I've seen, I've seen a lot of people get into this mindset where you could even feel suicidal if you're not succeeding academically, and you're not getting those results, and you're failing them. People might, they generally feel like, well, what's my life worth now? I've been told that my self-worth is tied to these results. I'm not getting these results, so is my life worth living now? They might even get to a suicidal mindset, which is horrible, a dangerous thing.
Absolutely horrible.
And I feel like that whole atmosphere is just a dangerous path. Because I feel like you're right. The undertone is that fear. And I remember saying that, when people are questioning why a GCSE is important, and then you just have, I remember a teacher explained, well, if you're going for like a Sainsbury's job, for example, they'll pick the person that has better grades than the one that has that failed their grades, essentially.
Maybe mathematics, but that's about it. Mathematics and English. I would say maybe those are the two major staples that you require in any given world. Yes, we walk around we are doing something that they said we never do. You're not going to walk around with a calculator every day. Well, I kind of do, because I have a calculator in my phone. Yeah. But yes, I mean, you're going to look for something you could do basic mathematics, which, let's assume, touch wood, we can all do, right? Some basic mathematics. There are some people who can't. And obviously communication is key. So English, I don't need to know about Shakespeare, but I have to be able to communicate with somebody on a viable level for me to have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But apart from that, a manager at Sainsbury's, for example, I mean, again, if you work at Sainsbury's, it's an honourable job. You work in a job, but obviously, if for my kid, I don't want that to be his end game profession. Is working, unless he owns Sainsbury's, right, or starts something akin to it. But they don't care about anything else. Yeah, just basic. This, can you do this? This, perfect. Can you lift, put boxes, and follow simple instructions? Perfect. There's your entry level job. It'll earn you money until you find something better. I had something like that. Most people did, until you start doing something different with your life. But it's fear mongering. That's what it is. It's scaring people into thinking this is the only way of doing it. Yeah, and it's frustrating, man. Yeah. Like now that you've highlighted it, like I'm thinking about it, going, I'm actually really annoyed about it. Like I really want to swear on my podcast, but I can't. But it's frustrating. It is. What we don't want to do is, I guess, build a nation of good test takers. Yeah. Because once you're faced with a real challenge, taking a test it's just like fighting, right? If you're a boxer, I'm great. I'm sure you're great at punching those pads and punching the bag, but life hits back, right? And it's the same with a fight. The fight is going to hit back. Same with the real world. The real world's going to hit back.
Wouldn't you have loved to have learned that in high school?
Yeah. You can take a test.
Principles, right? I mean, when I think of what would I've loved high school to have been about, because imagine English rather than just being English. I mean, I appreciate studying the previous works of previous writers, and that's all good. But hey, why don't we do a pitch class? Teach me how to pitch. Teach me how I can present to an audience where I can inspire them, enroll them into a new idea, a new possibility. Teach me that, because that's what's getting you paid in this day and age.
Hindsight's 2020, Manuel. That's why, mate. That's it's we are blurred by the mistakes and knowledge that we know now. I mean, tell me who wouldn't go back in time with the knowledge that you have now and relive your life, do it all over again. Of course I would. I mean, give me the chance. Of course I would. I mean, I love my life. But would I like to see what if? Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the opportunity we have, right? So we've got this experience. We've been through the system now, right? We're on the other end of it now, and now it's about okay. And that happens.
Speak
to
for yourself,
everybody.
Manuel. I'm still getting there, bro.
Hey, you can never stop learning.
That's
you can
right.
Never stop learning.
I agree.
You know, and and in fact, what I realized is the real learning. It doesn't really happen inside the classroom. It happens outside.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's like you could. Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen Good Will Hunting?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when the bit where I know we're going off topic here, but not really. Trust me.
I'm glad you mentioned that film.
It's a great film.
Yeah.
So the late great Robin Williams. So Robin Williams is talking to Matt Damon's character, and he's saying to him, you know, right after their first meeting, Matt Damon gets put up against the window because he's making fun of Robin Williams' wife, dead wife, and then they meet again in the park, and he says, "Okay, Chief, I'm sure you can read books. You're a really smart kid." He goes, "But if I asked you to tell me what the Sistine Chapel is like, you'd probably talk to me in great detail about brushstrokes, but you've never been there. You've never smelled it. You've never looked up at that beautiful ceiling. If I asked you to tell me, you know, about love, you'd probably quote me a sonnet. You'd probably speak to me about Shakespeare, but you don't know what that is. You don't know what love is. You don't know going out into having experienced it." Which you're right. You know, I learned more traveling around the world and going to different places and meeting different people than I ever learned in a classroom. That that taught me how to not just some educational facets in my life, but to grow as a human being, like to learn certain things and go, actually, you know what? I can apply what I've learned here indirectly into my own life. And I do. I apply that I apply things that I've learned in my, you know, in my experiences every day.
Definitely.
In little ways here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just stuff you don't learn in the classroom.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just give somebody a book and go, "Here, learn that," and that's it.
Yeah.
Like you need to go out and live the world.
You got to experience it.
Exactly.
You got to make mistakes.
And that's why people want you on your experience and not on what you know from a book. Exactly. Yes, it's unless you're obviously like a neuroscientist or a physician or not a physician, a physicist, or even a physician, a doctor, medicine, that kind of stuff. That's sort of across the board. Yeah. It's like you kind of need to know what's in the book because what's in the book matters. It's medical. It's, you know, don't take these drugs. These are that. But apart from that, like look at motivational speakers. Tim Robbins. Is it Tim Robbins? Can't remember his name. Anthony Robbins. That's it. But people like that, like, I mean, I don't know what his qualifications are, but I certainly believe that he doesn't utilize all of them when he's on stage. He utilizes things like passion.
I heard a great quote from him.
Go on.
He says he's got a PhD in results.
That's it.
Yeah.
There you go. You know,
that's it. He's qualified. That's what makes you qualified. Do you get results?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's all you need to know, really. Like, I do it this way. Does it work? Yes. Well, then, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? There were two great authors, two great books that were mentioned in that film. Do you remember them?
I want to say Norman Chomsky, but it's not.
It is, yeah. One of them was Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky.
Yeah.
Great author. Like, I remember, especially in my college phase, I used to read a lot of his stuff.
How sad is it I knew that?
Hey, man, you know it, man.
How sad is it I remember that?
Hey, man, you are well, you know what's going down in the world.
Yeah.
If you're reading his stuff, you know what's going down.
I haven't read Chomsky, but I am very much aware of his work.
Yeah. If you check out his stuff, it's so just so like enlightening, and he's so generous with just helping you understand, you know, just the other agendas that are going on in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other one was Howard Zinn, an amazing book, one of the best books I've ever read, A People's History of the United States. If you read that book, that will just, like the guy said in the film, it will blow your mind.
Okay.
Because that's when you really understand, wow, the past 500 years of the United States, from the time Columbus came to the Americas, it will just give you the people's perspective of what happened. Which
is what's going on with this whole Indiana thing with the pipeline right now, right? North Dakota,
wow,
that's right.
There you go.
Indian Hill.
Yeah. There you go. It will give you a lot of context for that.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm sure. Yeah,
definitely.
I don't know too much about it. I try not to. I mean, I love America, but I try not to. Look, I have bricks in my garden that are older than America, so I don't, as a country, and that's probably true. There are buildings there are doorknobs on doors that are older than that country. Like,
Yeah.
not the actual land itself, but the constitution of which it's built under.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, we have a much richer history. I'm more interested in what we've gone on through here as well. Don't get me wrong, I'm be interested in what's going on there, but yeah, Noam Chomsky, I'm very much aware of his work.
Yeah.
I haven't sat down and read a book yet. Too busy reading comic books, man. Playing PlayStation, reading. But then I'm a distracted consumer. That's what I am. I'm almost, you could say, a busy fool.
Hey, man. Well,
There's so much going on, but I'm doing nothing with my time because I'm just spending it, wasting it away.
We're all distracted, you know.
Yeah, in our own way.
And it's just picking your distraction, you know, which one do you want to do? And like you said, it's all right to be distracted if you're doing something about it as well. Do you know what I mean? So there's some good distractions that I wish I was doing more, because if it means that I'll do something with that knowledge I'm getting, hey, that was worth it.
Just bringing it back to Hidden UX, because obviously before we move on to other subjects, if we do close the chapter on it, as we're talking, great. But if we talk all the way to the end about it, it's great as well. How do you plan on implementing it and sort of setting it out and getting that message out to the masses? So you started sort of the vlogging is sort of like not luring, but like teasing people into it, easing them into the process, and then from there.
Yeah, man, I haven't actually been that prolific on social network, to be honest with you.
You're filling my feed with stuff.
Yeah, and it's only recently I've kind of gone out there, and what I realized, because I feel like I have something to say now, right? And this is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to bring out to people. So yeah, literally with social network, like I've always been aware of its power, but I didn't have anything to use it for, right, up until now. And now I feel like, wow, this is my calling, because we're in a time where people are still going through this factory education. They're getting into a huge amount of debt. Here I am in this industry that is abundant, right? It's calling for people, right?
Consumerism, mate. Yeah.
It's calling for people to, hey, we need you to design all these new applications, you know, and you know it's going to be an industry that's going to be around for a while, because look, how long have we had the iPhone? How long have we had the iPad? How long have we had the iWatch, right? And things like that. These are just all new devices.
Pointing at my watch, but actually I think you're fine, sir. It's a G-Shock. It's a Casio. It's much better than an Apple Watch. Please don't.
There you go. It can handle the shock.
Yeah, exactly.
It can handle a good session of rolling.
Shockingly, it's not bad. No pun intended.
There you go. And you know, not even 10 years we've had these devices, right? And around the corner we're going to be getting new devices, definitely. So what does these devices require? They require designers, thinkers, dreamers, developers, programmers, right? All of these things that you don't need a degree to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
You don't need to get into that debt, right?
Well, they're teaching kids how to code now, right?
Exactly.
Like,
we're at such a good time, Leo. Such a good time, man. We not only do we have the internet, video streaming is so cheap now. There's all these online courses. That is where you want to be getting your education, right? Because it's just immediate, it's cheap, it's abundant.
Sometimes it's free, dude.
Yeah, a lot of times it's free, and as long as you're being taught by a practitioner, you're in good hands then. As long as you're being taught by a practitioner, you're in good hands. Because that's what you find with maybe, you know, ironically in university. Imagine studying business studies in university. Are you being taught by an entrepreneur, a business person? You know, there's someone lecturing you about business, just filling your head with theory. You don't want to be taught by someone like that. Ideally, you want to be taught by a practitioner, someone that's done it, right? And then I'm sure they're doing it,
side
right?
note, lecturing,
exactly.
Helping out.
Exactly. You want to be taught by someone that's doing it, because they'll give you the knowledge to get there the quickest. Right? They'll just cut out. They know what to cut out. They know to say, no, this stuff you don't need to know.
You know,
this is the stuff you need to.
There's this guy. I don't know if you know his name, Bill Gates. I
think I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Senor Gates.
He's
another university dropout. Yeah. Okay.
He's along with Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Mr. Mark.
Yeah.
They're kind of big deals.
Yeah.
So Bill Gates. I'm gonna massacre his quote here, because it's not gonna be verbatim. But he'd rather give a lazy person a job to do, because they'll figure out how to do it quickest. Like how to cut like the fat out of it and just go from point A to point B as quickly as possible with the most minimal amount of effort. that's basically what he said. He said it better, obviously.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But you get what
Yeah.
I mean by that. I was like, that's really true if you think about it. I mean, obviously not too lazy that they won't actually do it at all.
Yeah.
But just lazy enough
Yeah.
that they'll be like, there's a better way of doing this. That
Yeah.
means I don't have to, I can get from A to C and skip B, you know? So
Absolutely, because what that person has, even though they may be lazy, but what they have is they're questioning the process.
Exactly.
Is there a better way? And
Streamline it, yeah.
Yeah, and that is one of the most important questions you can ever keep asking yourself in your life. Is there a better way? Why do we have to keep doing it like this? Question the process. Maybe you'll come up with something new.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's a different point of view. Sometimes I think I lose sight of that. Just generally, when you just stubborn in your own way. You're just like, my way is my way. And again, that old rhetoric needs to you need to refresh the rivers with new blood, for lack of a better phrase, and then get people, and that's sort of what your sort of goal is. And I'm guessing, yeah,
because what I want to do, I want to move away from the fear of failure, and in fact embrace failure. And ironically, that's what my role entails. You're setting yourself up to fail so you can learn. Right? That's the whole point of making a prototype. You're trying to set yourself up to see, where can this thing fail? You're expecting it. You want it to happen, because if there's no failure, there's no learning.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
And then you move on. So you're setting yourself up to fail, and you embrace the failures, and then you learn from it. You iterate, make the thing great, and then you move on. Right? And so that's kind of where I want to move to, that kind of mindset. Don't worry about failing, because that was the old way. That was the old system. There's no such thing as trying to be perfect. That's too much stress. That's unrealistic. You can't be perfect. You can't have the perfect result in a perfect life. Move away from that. Embrace your mistakes. That's how you're going to get your best learnings. That's how you're going to grow.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
There you go.
Except polio.
Exactly.
Except for polio. Polio mess you up.
Yeah.
So, nah, man, that's inspiring stuff, I have to say. It's like, it's interesting to see, I mean, where are we going to be in 10, 20 years?
Yeah.
You know, like, not just with, your ventures and hidden UX and, I mean, just generally as a species, how are we going to take information in? How are we going to absorb it? How are we going to move? Because it's changed dramatically since, nobody even knew in my school what coding was. Maybe if you were geeky, and those were geeky kids who knew what coding was, and they'd be like, yes, I know what coding is. Yes, with their braces and stuff. But now, like, they're teaching it to all the kids.
Yeah.
Learn it quick, learn it now, because it's going to be the future. My only issue with that is those same kids won't know how to start a fire when they need to, by hand or camping or stuff like that. Like, that's the other side of it, is like go outside, go live the real world. Don't be afraid. Learn, like, you have those survivalists kind of people who know how to build a shelter out of basically zero. They have like a toothpick or something, like like MacGyver. They build something out of nothing. I think that's also a really valuable trait, to just switch off, come off the grid, and go out there and
detox, man.
Just sort of take a break for a while. I need to do it. I'm long overdue for something like that. Just fall off the grid for a week. Go camping and like
somewhere. No iPhone, no internet,
no nothing. Just some food. Maybe go hunting. I don't know. I'd love to go. Me personally, I'd love to go to like Colorado. In decent weather, because I'm fair weathered. I'm a bit of a big girl's blouse like that. But take a tent. Pack a bag, go out. By the way, there's a fireworks in the background because it's obviously remember 5th of November, Guy Fawkes night. So and fall off the grid, man. Maybe go hunting, kill some animals. Like, not because I like killing, but because it's a viable thing. You should learn you're a predator. That's why your eyes are in the front of your face.
Maybe you eat them.
Yeah, well, that's it. Obviously, I won't just kill them for sport. That's why I hunt man, because man is the greatest sport going. The most dangerous game is man, is what I can't remember who said that. There you go. The fireworks are starting, and not just between me and Manuel.
Exactly.
And God, it's gonna be the most annoying noise. I hate these fireworks. I really do.
Man, they're popping away.
My missus is she's dog sitting right now at her parents' house, because these the dogs hate fireworks, right? They get really scared.
So they're going to be jumping up right now.
Yeah, the dog's either running around. I'm sure right now is either running around, crying, or pooing his pants or something like, or her pants. Sorry, they get scared really quickly, man.
Yeah.
It's really sad because these fireworks. My dog used to get really jumpy as well. But so, what's the next step for Hidden UX? Like, how do you plan on? Where do you see it going? How do you plan on doing this moving forward?
Essentially, I'm setting up this coaching course. Okay, so
cool.
Hidden UX School, basically, right? Where I will coach you how to get into the industry effectively, right?
Specifically into
user experience.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically in terms of my role, get into the digital creative industry as a user experience designer, right? And it's going to involve working on yourself, your persona, what kind of attributes you should have, working on your portfolio. So we're going to go through projects together. So you're building your portfolio because that's what counts. And then working on your pitch. So then when you're in that interviews, we get you in. And effectively, if you're new to the game, you want to be getting an internship. That's the best way to start the career.
Are you going to do this online? Or are you going to do this face to face?
It's going to be online.
Okay,
and coaching calls online. So
nice.
It's going to involve whether it's not so much webinars to educate the people, but more online conferences. We'll have some conference calls where we're coaching you on your progress, guiding you through your projects and making sure your portfolio is on point and that your pitch is on point, so that when you start knocking on them doors, they want you in because you're going to have something of value there.
They're exactly.
Because there's so much startups up there. And one trend I noticed with startups is that they do their own UX. Right, a lot of CEOs, they'll just do it themselves, and so they could do, because probably to get a dedicated user resource is probably quite, they're expensive people to have around. So if they can get some interns in there, helping them out, and then the interns are getting some experience, I think there's a big need just to get more people involved. So essentially, this is something I'm looking to start in about. I'm going worldwide early next year.
Nice. Okay.
What I'm doing this year is actually starting with some pilot students. So I'm looking to take a few pilot students with me on the journey where we go through the initial release 0.1 of the course, because that's going to hopefully give them great value. And I'm looking to get some success stories out of them. But what I'm looking to get essentially is their feedback, because I want to know what's working, what needs improving.
Tweaking, so you can improve the
experience.
There you go. See,
exactly.
That's how we brought that round, huh? Yeah, that's good.
There you go. I like that.
What's do you mind if I ask? I'm just curious. Are you monetizing it?
Yeah. So the whole course will probably cost.
You don't need to throw figures out right now if you're not too sure of it. If you're like, well, I'm going to tweak it later on. You don't need to. I'm not putting the pressure on. You don't have to answer that question.
I mean, I thought about this because I've been when I was younger, I would have probably thought this was quite expensive. But I feel like now that I know what this could give me, it's actually a really good deal compared to what I'm avoiding in terms of university. So compared to the university route, I'm thinking what I'm looking to charge people is actually quite, it's good value essentially, right? So basically, I think it's going to be like a £1,200 course.
Oh, okay.
But I remember what it was like when I, back in the day when I was of that age group, that's a lot of money. But however, I could afford it if I had a payment plan. So, I want to make it easy for people to pay off. It'll be like £100 a month. And because for me, that was something
for a year, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You do it in a year. You can pay it off in one go or in a year, because essentially I just want you to take the course, go through it, and I want to see you win and get into the industry. That's what I want to see out of it, right? And essentially, if people don't get in, I don't really, I really don't want their money. I want people that will get. I want to see this work. I want to see people get their foot into the door. And have just got that internship, because when I say you've got that internship, you're in the industry, you're in the game. Because as soon as you got your internship, one of two things will happen. The company that you have that intern with, whether that's like a month intern or a few months, right? They'll offer you the job. They'll offer you a permanent position. And if they don't, well, you've just done an intern. That means your next gig can be a paid gig now, because hey, you've got got that experience. You proved yourself now.
Exactly.
You've done some real projects. So within 6 months to a year, it shouldn't take that long for you to get a paid gig. That's getting you into the industry. So I'm saying that within 3 years, you could have earned what you would have got into debt if you went to university. That's what I'm saying.
Well, just university just isn't a viable. Well, look, it is, and I'm not knocking anybody. Who wants
Depends,
to go to
isn't
university.
it? It depends.
It's subjective. I mean, you know, do you really want to go to university and learn archaeology? Well, I know people that went to university and did things like this, and nothing. They're doing zero with it now. They work at EE. They do different things. You know, they're just not.
Yeah.
They're not that route. I seldom meet people that went to university and studied X and are in that same X industry. Just don't, you know.
Before you had the excuse, right? Before you had the excuse of, it'll be a great experience. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and but now it's an expensive experience. Like you can still do that, but do you really want to be 40, 50k in debt? That's the question.
I'm better off maybe just putting 10 grand on a transit van, doing it up and traveling all around the world in it.
Get some experiences. That's
traveling
right.
around Europe and just live out this van for like a nomad.
Yeah.
You know, do it. Just people are doing that. It's becoming a thing, man. Like there's these like work abroad, not work abroad, work on the go, where you can like basically work remotely. Like so let's say for example you are a designer.
Yeah.
Well, as long as your portfolio is web based, right? You can work remotely. You don't need to.
Yeah,
people can hire you remotely. You can do the work remotely. You can travel around the world and work from a laptop.
Definitely.
As long as you got a Wi-Fi connection and some electricity, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, like, there's nothing to say that. And let's be honest here. People are learning how to use Photoshop and do design work without the aid of having to go to school.
Absolutely.
You know, I've seen people do stuff on Reddit, on 4chan, online, on different places, 9gag memes and stuff like that. Like that all started not people with degrees, people that were just messing around with certain applications. And now, you know, everyone's a Photoshop expert.
Yeah.
Everyone's, you know, people like not me, by all means.
There's a lot of people. Yeah.
You know, but I know a lot of people who are, again, there's a guy I know called Joseph Buchanan who is a fantastic designer.
Yeah, Joseph.
You know Joseph?
Yeah, I know Joseph, yeah.
He is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And he took, just like the banners on my stuff that I did for this podcast, like just on the web pages and stuff, and he just cleaned it up for me. Like stuff I did on my phone, he knew what he was doing. He made me look like a damn fool with his knowledge. But I mean, personally, I don't know what his level of education was. I've never actually asked him, but I know he's extremely proficient in what he does. But again, I know people that aren't trained in that sort of industry and are very good at what they do and work off the experience that they've done. They've been given one chance. They've worked once, they've had that one chance, and then from there they've built off that one opportunity and they go, okay, I've done X, let's move on to Y, let's move on to Z, let's move off to this. And just off the back of one project, as long as you do a good job, it's a starter for you, right? You either get hired by that company and they say, this is our designer, this is what he does, or let's say, for example,
it's the same thing with designers. I've interviewed designers and it's the same thing where the conversation is all about tell us what you've done and then us sizing up what you're going to be like to work with, right? We don't even talk about your education.
I mean, that's the other side of it though, right? Is a lot of people, I mean, if I had my own company where I was hiring, you know, 2-3 people, like I want to know you are you a douchebag? Like, you know, are you going to be a horrible person? Like, you may be great at the job, but are you a good human being? Like, do I want to work with you?
Yeah. What do you stand for?
Yeah. What's the deal? Like, I don't want to work somebody who's like, oh, he's a fantastic designer, but he's racist. Like, you know, that's an extreme example, but like, I don't want to work with somebody like that. I don't want somebody like that. You don't want that sort of negativity that breeds negativity.
Yeah,
you want everyone be on the same page, have that positive goal, and be like, this is where we need to be. Yeah. And this is how we get there. Yeah. And then we're all gonna, as long as we all have that same sort of like almost communist mindset of like, we're just gonna work towards this goal. And once we get there, we're like, now how can we make it better? Yeah. Let's move on from there.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
And that's part of the training that I want to give to people. That's working on your persona, right? And the heart of it is essentially, don't make it about you. Never make it about you. Make it about others, because that's what's going to make you perform in your role and when you're pitching yourself in an interview. When you make it about the value that you're trying to add to something, to a cause, right, to a problem, that you've taken yourself out the equation. It's all about, what did I do to address this problem? Okay, you've taken yourself out. You haven't made it about you, right? That's what's going to give you that energy, that spark. That's going to get you hired. You're going to be a wanted person if you always make it about the cause and not yourself.
I used to work in recruitment for a few years. I'm a firm believer that people buy from people. That goes whether or not you're selling a product or you are selling yourself. Like as a worker, as a team leader, as a team player or whatever.
Yeah.
If you are a people person and you are able, as long as obviously you have to have like, you know, you can't go into a designing job and not know anything about designing but expect to get hired. Obviously there has to be a level of proficiency there, but if you are an intelligent individual who's smart, charming, funny, have good experiences, you know, you're positive, you have got a lot of good energy and you're good at what you do, like why wouldn't somebody hire you? If they're looking to hire, that's the kind of person they want. They want somebody who has that positive outlook and not somebody who just like, what you don't want is somebody that makes their job feel like they're going to work every day to just go to work.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just hard to, you don't want someone that's it's just hard to work with. You don't want to ask them to do something for you because they're going to make it into such a chore and make you feel like you're asking them to do such a big...
It's like you're asking me to do so much. Like, dude, it's your job.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're paying you to do.
Yeah. The best people to work with are those that make you feel like you could just, you could just say things really easy to them, and because you both understand what the vision is and you both want to get the same thing, and it's not a chore at all. We're just chilling, we're relaxing, and work so much more fun when you're around this kind
That's
of
why
people.
I've never understood why people have to dress up for work. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like we're just a bunch of like penguins dressing up, like putting on these clothes to go to a place where we don't want to be, to impress people that we don't care about, and buy things that we don't need.
It's all looking good. It's all looking good. And that's what I realized. I mean, that's why I went to university. I was trying to look good. I did not want to be the guy that when people ask me, what are you doing with your life? Oh, I'm just in retail. I'm just in McDonald's, whatever. You want to be able to say, yeah, I'm studying at university, because it gives you validation. It makes you look good. And that's what we keep doing to ourselves. We just want to look good. We're too afraid.
Others.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of looking good to ourselves and just being like, man, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And this is what makes me happy. You know what that is? That's there's a great comedian slash director slash writer slash screenwriter. His name's Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
You know who that is? He's the director of many horrible, filthy films. People don't watch them unless you're 18 or over, or 15, whatever they're classified as. But he said, live a why not life. And that's kind of what led me to do this podcast, listening to that. Because he was like, everyone's always saying why. Why are you doing this? Manuel, why are you doing Hidden UX? Why are you doing, Leo, why are you doing a podcast? Why? What? Nobody else is doing it. Why are you doing it? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not do it? Why not try this and fail? And, was it Edison who said, I failed 1,000 times trying to create the light bulbs. I don't think I failed. I just learned 1,000 ways how to not make a light bulb. That's, you just learn like, okay, this isn't how you don't do something, and now I know, and I won't make that mistake again. That's again, like, as you said, that's how you grow. That's how you develop. That's how you move on and become better.
Yeah. And that's what's missing. You see, you said it right there. That is the key component that is missing from education. They set you up to make you feel like you're not supposed to fail in exams, afraid of failure, whereas really the key to learning is do it anyway, and you're either going to win or you're going to learn. But the key is don't be afraid of making mistakes. Go for it. Go ahead and do it. That's how you learn. It's like I remember Robert Rodriguez, he was talking about this book. I remember listening.
We're talking Robert Rodriguez, the director of Spy Kids. Yes,
that's the one. I remember I was listening to one of his film commentaries one time, and he was talking about books about creativity that he was looking into, and there was one called Art and Fear. And I remember I bought that on the back of that, but it had a great story in there about the 12 pots. You heard about the 12 pots?
No.
Basically, there's two classes, right? Class 1 was told, you just need to make one pot. Make it as great as you can. You need to make one pot. Okay. Class 2 were told, your task is to make as many pots as you can. Okay. Teachers went away. They all come back. Let's take a look what happened. So the first class, they made their one pot. And it looks alright. It's just a mediocre pot. Nothing special. They went to class 2. So sure, it started off bad, but their task was to make as many as possible. And as they went along and assessed all the pots, it just kept getting better and better and better until consistently they were producing great pots. Why is that? Because they learned from the mistake of the previous effort.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And that's what you need. That's what learning should be about. You need to go through that effort where you're not afraid to make mistakes. You've got to keep it experimental. You win or learn. You win or learn. You win or learn.
That's it, man. It's a ticket, dude. We've been talking for like an hour and like 5 minutes.
Wow.
It flies by, right?
Yeah.
You just don't even know. You're just talking, just shooting it out there, and then next thing you know, I know these fireworks are going to get crazy, and it's just going to ruin our nice conversation. So, but big message there, people. You know, if you wanna check out Manuel, just find him on Facebook. If you got anything anywhere else, you can find Hidden UX.
HiddenUX.com.
Yeah,
I'm Hidden UX everywhere now.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Instagram,
The links
Facebook,
will be
Twitter.
This will all be under the description. So you'll send that to me later on.
Yeah, man.
You and your people. You'll send me that
Totally.
stuff over, man, and we'll get it over and I'll put that link in the description, guys. It's been awesome having you on the show, man. Thank you so much for.
I've had a great time here, Leo.
For being up. Perfect, man. Perfect. All right, guys. So look, be sure to check out Hidden UX. Check out Manuel Gonzales, and all that information you need is going to be in the description. I promise you, it'll be worth having a look at, guys. And obviously, always like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. This has been my first show where I've not sworn.
Wow,
so
Leo.
I may have let a few slip, but I don't think so. So if anybody catches them, write in the comments or mention it. This will be out on iTunes and stuff like that. So guys, for sure, check it out. First clean show. Leo Van Dammage kept his mouth shut and didn't swear. All right, guys, thank you very much. Bye.
Take care, folks. Catch you later.
Hey, this is Leo here from What's the Damage podcast. If you liked this week's episode, feel free to like, share, and subscribe and do all that fucking shit. And hopefully we can get this worldwide. Thanks a lot. Peace.